Mr. Makki, I know you need to leave in 5 minutes, so let's take a quick question, because your office recently launched the Reinventing Government 2030 initiative to help, and one of the objectives is to actually rethink the operating model of the ministries. So anything related to the fiscal sector, to the Ministry of Finance and the Customs, and when is the citizen expected to, see what timeline are we talking about?
Unfortunately, I have some bad news, which is with restructuring a dilapidated administration, there are not many quick wins. So we need to be realistic about this. So we inherited a non-existing public administration. The beautiful ideas that everybody talks about cannot even be implemented. We don't have the capacity to even write proper notes and so on, and let alone to implement. So we have a really very bad shape for the administration. So this is something we need to start with, and therefore even the assessment of human resources. Do you know that we no longer have the overcapacity that we once had in public administration? People talk about that it's a bloated public administration. We're operating with more or less 20% capacity. And therefore, a lot of the functions that are supposed to be existing do not exist. We don't have something called digital transformation, and all these beautiful loans that we'll be getting require institutional setup, you require human capacity setup, you require investment. We still don't have those. So we have a slow-moving public administration. We have slow-moving legislative process as well. We have bureaucratic procedures that we call sludge. This keeps, things that come to the Council of Ministers, we're trying to streamline this, but a lot of this are legacy of kind of old laws that require us to kind of rubber stamp things that are unnecessary, and therefore even the strategic things cannot be discussed at length. So just want to say that I hear you, there's a lot of impatience, but we have not inherited something that is functioning, and therefore reconstituting the team did take time and will continue to take time. On the institutional setup, we are rethinking now this entire operating model for government. So the way we're thinking is across verticals. So think about them, about 20 or so verticals. Finance is one of the vertical. Economic activities another vertical. Civil services a vertical. Infrastructure, local development. And therefore we're thinking verticals, but we're thinking also levels of governance. So we've just started mapping all the existing entities. Level 1 entities like director generals, regulatory authorities, councils, and so on, and the amount of overlap and redundancy that exists, let alone gaps, is just amazing. So we're looking at 4 levels. So who are the policy makers in every one of the verticals? Who are the standard setters as pre-regulators? Who are the supervisory and the post-regulators? Who are the service provider and operators? And we've mapped to this matrix, which has about 400 or 500 cells across the 20 verticals, but with every vertical, several in the value chain. So we're rethinking this, and the way to kind of think about this is with every ministry through workshop-driven, looking at the current assessment of the baseline, which is the current governance, current mapping of the human resources, which are not many, but even with their skills assessment to know who's to let go, who's to retain, and what to bring from outside, and what are the systems and processes. And we've identified and documented about 2,400 services where we have the maps for. A lot of them are not streamlined, so effectively digitizing the as-is would be a catastrophe. So you need to re-engineer those services. We're thinking with a lot of universities in innovative ways to re-engineer those services. But the sheer volume of work is just incredible. And I don't want to disappoint people, but there's so much work with so little resources, and we're working against the clock. And therefore, all I ask is conditional patience and conditional support until we move forward. We're trying to move in parallel on anti-corruption so that there's more accountability, there are more transparency in what we're doing, but really it's just we're a case where priorities are horizontal. We don't have vertical A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3. It's just everything needs to happen at the same time. So just want to vent myself as to what we're trying to do and the immense effort. And I mean, I'm one of those who think we need the IMF, not only for the financing, for the discipline, that the conditionality. Yes, of course, it's a limit on sovereignty, absolutely necessary. And I mean, we failed miserably, and we need that upper hand of conditionality, which is good for us to perpetuate rule of law, but we need to also be kind of responsible. We need to be creative, working with the compliance of existing measures. Those registered will bear the grunt, but we need to also expand with the non-registered. There are different types of compliance. So I thought I'll just put forward a few of those thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.